Hello people, it's Stream here, and I'm going to be playing some Valorant.
You know that it's real. You know that I feel.
Oh frick, I forgot I'm suspended for 7 minutes. Whoop, that didn't go that well. But I'm also here with Floofy. Check out his channel, probably will be in the description below if I bother adding a description. My
Thanks.
brother, yeah. But yeah, check out his channel too. Thanks for hitting 100 subs on this channel. Don't have to keep repeating it, but thanks to those long-time viewers for sticking with me. And if you're new to this channel, why don't you hit that like and subscribe button to one of my other videos?
Yeah, why don't you?
So while I am suspended from playing a game 6 minutes, I got,
Okay. Why?
I don't know. I mean, I probably was AFK in a game, so like,
Alright.
yeesh, oh, they don't even know stuff here.
They don't even know me. They don't even know me.
Hello, second viewer. Oh, and he left. I'll be back. I have to get something.
Match found.
I am the beginning. I am the end.
Alright, let's try and do
Hey,
this.
Phoenix. If I die, Viking funeral. All the way.
Alright, let's do this. Just go. I can't, it's not the bind phase. Alright, let's try and do this.
Shadows traveling.
My ult's ready.
Alright, let's go, we're doing this. We have high ping.
One enemy remaining.
Oh no.
Grateful I killed you.
Oh, we're using a bulldog. How much ping am I on? Like 200? Help us, please.
I'm gonna burn you up, Phoenix.
Alright, I'm having hard ping.
Spike planted.
Where?
Cover going out.
They will cover. Spike, you disappoint me.
Come on, let me use my gun.
Last player
Why?
standing. Clutch.
Stupid high ping.
You should stop trying. Last round before the switch.
I will snuff out Phoenix's fire.
Oh my god, my ping is like 900.
Shadows traveling.
Joke's over! You're dead!
Reloading gun. Chunky style. How? The hitbox is trash.
Flawless.
The hitbox, like.
Switching sides.
We all have to defeat these. If they're camping here,
Let's
I'll
go.
just smoke them.
Cover going out.
Wait, they're all going for that side when I go for it.
Spike planted.
Multiple enemies spotted.
They're nearby, like.
Cover going out.
They're nearby. Yeah, not a jet.
Shadows traveling.
Last player standing.
What? Oh my! All of them defeated it.
Admitting they will die, hopeless and afraid.
So you could shoot with two ways.
Knock him down.
So,
Multiple ahead.
oh my!
One enemy remaining.
Here. Enemy spotted.
Alright, we're getting cowardly.
Match point.
Yes,
One
I'm on
last
double.
push. Let's make them hurt.
I have an ace, like.
Here.
Let's go.
The bottom. Vondo's like an A carry, but
Enemy spotted.
Shadows traveling.
Bunch of guys here.
oh crap, our teammates died.
Hello?
Yeah.
You still streaming?
Yep.
Alright.
I'm about to leave.
Last player standing.
Your feet!
One enemy remaining.
Oh god, she's low.
Thirty seconds left.
Dude, that's the clutch.
Yo, I can't get Discord Nitro.
Rippin'.
Spike planted.
Oh no, it's too late. Oh, we're not gonna win, like. Oh, we tried. We tried so well. Oh, I can't switch my buy rate.
Sudden death.
Oh look, they're desperate.
Reload him.
Phantom.
A. Reloading.
I will break the balance.
good lesson.
For shit all like.
Cover going out.
Enemy spotted.
For the 3 seasons. By now, you've probably spotted every single Easter egg and have read every theory. So today, the Binger is going behind the scenes. Take a look at the secrets of the real-life people behind the show.
Spike planted.
You will not kill my allies.
The Drip. Whenever Eleven uses her powers to move things with her mind, she gets...
Enemy spotted.
store a bag of fake blood up her nose. After trying a few different options, the VFX settled on the simplest one. They gave Millie Bobby Brown a vial of fake blood from which she would drop a little into her nose and just wait for it to trickle down. The first blood solution they tried was apparently too viscous, like ketchup flammable, and the whole cast and crew had to wait, poised on the brink of a shot for the red liquid to ooze out of Brown's nose. Eventually, they tried a new blood recipe, but this one was way too runny and impossible to predict. On the third try, though, we nailed it.
Let's go! We clutch!
Head back and to keep the blood contained. As soon as he heard action, leaning forward to let it all run down. But still, there were some moments in the show where Brown wasn't able to pause and take a nose swig of her blood, and in those more intense, fast-paced moments, was CGI. They also resorted to virtual blood when the on-set schedule was tight and they couldn't wait for the drip. The bathroom hasn't been christened. In a new house or apartment, it's a coveted privilege to be the first one to use the bathroom. According to Millie Bobby Brown, this well-worn tradition was not observed in Eleven and Hopper's cabin. In a tour of the Season 3 set, Brown guides us through the cabin, and while walking by the bathroom, she says, "I haven't actually used the bathroom. I don't feel like Eleven's ever actually peed." Although some might see this as a blatant disregard for a sacred tradition and bad omen, it's probably a good thing. Seeing as it is just a set, it's unlikely the toilet's connected to any real plumbing. The props are actually old. The nostalgic 80s look and feel of Stranger Things is a large part of the show's appeal. The cars, the wood paneling, and the music are all faithfully reproduced to match the vibe of the era to a T. But the props department takes it to the next level. Instead of reproducing 80s junk food items, they actually get the real thing, apparently off eBay. So if you've seen a bag of potato chips or a can of Coca-Cola in the show, chances are it's older than you. Gaten Matarazzo described how incredulous about the authenticity of the props, he decided to test the gum he carries in his utility belt in the show. "I tried to chew a piece of that gum," he said. It was from 1985. When asked how he knew, he said it tasted like it was from the 80s. Yum. The walkie-talkies still work. On the subject of old stuff, the walkie-talkies that the kids use in Stranger Things, although made decades ago, still work. Sometimes. To shoot the walkie-talkie scenes, one person will go on camera with the device, and the person they're talking to stand off camera and respond into their own walkie-talkie unmiked to get the timing right. Usually the most sound they get out of them is a back noise, but sometimes they mysteriously turn on, which can mess up the whole shot. The reason for this, of all things, is child labor laws. Gaten Matarazzo described how, because of restrictions on how much kids can work and laws stating that they have to be in school, when they weren't needed in front of the camera, the young actors would go and study. This meant that someone else would read their lines into the walkie-talkie off camera. When the old-school devices turned on, once in a blue moon, and the wrong voice came through, the shot would have to be scrapped. Joe Keery isn't welcome at the kids' table. In an interview with Access, Joe Keery was asked about whether or not there's a Stranger Things cast group chat. He confirms its existence, but says that after Season 2, he was kicked out. He says that Noah Schnapp, Will Byers, is by far the most active, and that upon realizing his and Maya Hawke's ages, they were kicked out. We were too old for that. We got booted. Swimming for nothing. Unfortunately, Joe Keery's misfortunes on the set of the hit show extended far beyond the ageist discrimination of
I wasn't strong enough before, but now
who was on the swim
now
team.
I am
Keery took this detail to heart, and the boy he trained for the 6 weeks leading up to shooting by working out constantly, and not only to get in the mindset of a guy on the high school swim, but but also to make sure he had a banging bod. He assumed that he'd have to appear on screen wearing a Speedo, and he wanted to be known for the rest of his life as Hunky Steve, so he got into great shape. But when they showed up on the first day, the Duffers casually informed him that, oh yeah, we cut. All the training did end up helping him in the end. The unintended consequences of his svelte physique was that he could season jeans, which he described as like wearing a baseball glove. Apparently, Stranger Things is to jeans as Jane Austen is to corsets. Fat hair. Joe Keery's hair, on the other hand, is immune to misunderstanding. This is because, in his contract, it's stipulated that Keery can't mess with his dude. It seems strict, but at the same time, it also makes sense. As one of the main characters, Steve is very important to the show, and as one of his defining features, his hair is very important to his character. For some actors, this would be an Keery says he's had those same luscious locks for years. In an interview, it's in his blood, saying that his parents have kinda crazy hair. Although his dad tried to get him to tame his mane in his casting in Stranger Things, due to the due in part, has silenced that debate. The cast helped choose the music. One of the things that helps situate Stranger Things in its era most is the music. The credit for curating the soundtrack usually goes to Matt and Ross Duffer. The show's cast is full of musicians, and they usually have a say in what songs get in. Dacre Montgomery, who plays Billy Hargrove, said that the brothers asked him what song he'd like to play when Billy is first introduced in season 2. As he gets out of his car, and the camera pans up from his boots to his jeans to his head to that outrageous head of hair. They open up this forum of, what do you think? Here's what we're thinking. Montgomery's choice of song was Inagata Iron Butterfly, which, although it wasn't the final choice, perfectly captures Billy's vibe. In the end, they settled on the 80s classic Rock You Like a Hurricane by Scorpion. The famous Van Flip. If you can do it for real, that's the way you do it, says Matt Duffer, one half of the brother pair that write and direct most of Stranger Things. He's talking about the famous scene in season 1, where the Hawkins-powered flight vans are in Mike 11 Lucas. Too late as one of the vans comes at them 11 brown burrows, and out of nowhere the van's bumper crumples, and it flips up and flies through the air. This results in one of the coolest shots in television, with the kids pedaling on their banana seat and BMX bikes while a van flips in slow-mo right over top of them. It's like the opposite of Kobe Bryant jumping over a moving car. Ross Duffer says that the fun thing about that one is that it's not really visual effects, it's actually flipped. Caleb McLaughlin, otherwise known as was originally under the impression that because the flip wasn't CGI that him and his co-stars would actually have to bike under the flying van. This obviously turned out to be false. The first time they tried to flip it, the van was pushed forward along the ground, right into the place where the kids would have. Sadie the skater. When you think of Max or Sadie Sink, you probably think of her skating around in her green. It turns out that before filming Stranger Things, she had never even she was really to get her in skating shape, the production assigned her 2 skateboarding teachers. One for when she was on set in Atlanta, and another for when she was at home. At first, she was freaked out. She said it's a really weird feeling. You feel like you had absolutely no control and you don't know what's going on. So just at that moment, I was like, oh geez, this isn't looking good for me. This is going to be a rough process. It was also a little awkward for her to be the only one at the skate park with safety gear. The production mandated that she wear full padding and a helmet, likely for insurance reasons, except for on screen. I always felt stupid at the skate park, she said. What else is just but they did the helmets and over here by some marshmallow. I felt in the end though it might have been a blessing in disguise. One of her skateboarding teachers broke his arm during the training. Sing's training went beyond the confines of the skate park. Her teachers apparently gave her skate videos to take home, including America's 2010 classic Stay Gold. No waste on set. The stars of Stranger Things are mostly kids, so the fact that they get some life advice from their adult co-stars should come as no surprise. However, some of the tricks they learn are a little unorthodox. Dustin's mom in the show, played by Katherine Curtin of Orange is the New Black fame, has Finn Wolfhard recounted a story of Curtin demonstrating a genius life hack for anyone working on set. Wolf's mom were chilling on set, shooting the breeze when they saw Curtin making her way towards the craft services table with a handful of plastic bags. She scoured the table, picked out the best snacks, and
Probably look for
Show
Phantom,
sacrifice so
Black
much for
Shields,
free. Working.
Scope.
Watch work.
Ghost.
Certainly. Taking a doggy bag does save you a trip to the grocery store. Her trick, Wolfhard and Ben Matarazzo were smitten and described her as very cool. We hope we gave you some good insight into what is the cast of the show together and gives it such life on screen. Did we miss anything? Please let us know in the comments below. And hey, Lorna! No running on my watch! I gotta warn you again, and you're banned for life. You wanna be banned for life,
Right here.
Even though Stranger Things is one of the most beloved shows in Netflix's recent series, its cast members receive some of the most vicious criticism online. Some might say it's just because they're kids who don't know any better, and are therefore making all these regular mistakes while the cameras are rolling. Still, other people swear there are valid and
remaining.
mean and hate on the Stranger Things cast members. So today we're going to list down some of these reasons, and we'll let you decide at the very end if these arguments are worth it or not. But before that, a simple reminder on how to enter.
Work already. Work with me.
iPad Mini or a MacBook Pro. It's all your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword.
Alright,
Enter
you
the
better
giveaway.
start fusing.
Really, that's simple. First reason that people criticize the Stranger Things cast is they say they're rude. It's no secret that the actress who plays 11 is one of the members of the Stranger Things ensemble. For those of you who have never watched an episode of Stranger Things, 11 is played by Millie Bobby Brown. She's the cast member who's always described as rude, and frankly, we can't blame the people for saying that. It could be because she has a different background culturally, but you can clearly see in interviews that Millie does not have a problem talking loud over other people. Even though her more timid castmates like Sadie Sink have already started talking, Millie would attempt to steal the spotlight by always bringing the conversation back to her. Millie herself has experienced the rudeness of some of her fellow actors. In one radio interview, she was telling the story of how long it took her to master the English language. Gatton and Caleb were with her, and instead of supporting her storytelling, the two kept on making faces and interrupting her while she spoke. Second reason is that they show signs that they're uneducated. Okay, the second reason is again related to Millie Bobby Brown. While most people do not expect celebrities, most especially young stars, to be profound and exceptionally wise, they're still expected to have a basic knowledge of how the world works. After all, they still went to primary school and high school, right? This is why a lot of people were triggered and shocked when Millie Bobby Brown revealed that she thinks the world is flat. This is a kind of nonsense that you wouldn't believe unless you hear it or see it for yourself. Luckily for all of us, Brown had recorded herself calling herself a flat earther. She admitted to watching a lot of this to think about the facts that prove the earth is flat. I mean, really? Another interview put on TV. Even the host couldn't believe it. She said Millie just can't simply use her accent to excuse herself for not knowing English. Come on, ask any 14-year-old you know, and they know what justice means. And you'd understand why the young actress got so much backlash after this. The next reason is that some people think they can be annoying. Now, this reason is really a personal and subjective opinion.
It takes a long time to use.
Or snap. There was this one interview where Millie, Noah, and Finn were asked to pick which superhero power they would like to have. Finn and Millie went with teleportation, while Noah opted for invisibility. But you know, he didn't really need to ask for invisibility, since his fellow actors are so used to ignoring him when he's around anyway. Millie seems especially mean to him. We don't know if she received marching orders to just appear obsessed about Finn Wolfhard all the time, but she barely glances at Noah when he's speaking. Even David Harbour couldn't hide the fact that he was annoyed with Millie that one time they sat together in a fan meet. He was actually trying to pay Millie a compliment, but the young girl just appeared bored the whole time.
From the front.
So she started making faces and doing these large gestures that took all the attention away from David and his speech. Even though David's really nice and gentle with his younger castmates, they must have annoyed him to no end. The next reason is that some of them like to date around. Okay, even I have to admit that this is sort of a low blow, but we can't hide the fact that people just seem to hate celebrities who date around too much. This is the same reason people have been trying to crucify Swift for collecting boys and using them for writing inspiration. So in the context of Stranger Things, there are two actresses that people do not like for their messy love life history. One of them is Winona Ryder. The other one is, yeah, you guessed it, Millie Bobby Brown. And Sartorius, Joseph Robinson, Romeo
You
Beckham.
will not kill
Meanwhile,
my
there are
ally.
entire Ryder ever dated. On and on, some of the most later, Johnny Depp, Matt, and a few others. But hey, we're not in medieval times.
What?
We're allowed to take
Oh,
wherever they
my
want.
dumb ping. Housekeeping.
There are still people who would for this.
Yes. Oh my god, it's actually been a long day. Like,
Full of themselves. One of the characters who have been
Last
heavily
player
criticized for
standing.
being top is Finn Wolfhard. Remember that he has a lot of fans, not just because of his things, but also because of his character in the horror movie It. Now, there's been a lot of hate circulating because of this one incident when Finn supposedly
Let them
ignored
try
the
to
hordes
get
of fans who waited for him outside of a hotel he's staying in. The whole thing was caught on video, too. He could be asking for pictures and autographs, identifying themselves as really huge fans of Finn. The young actor didn't give them the time of day. He didn't stop for photographs, he didn't even look for a wave or a good night. On seeing this, the person recording said, "That's so rude." Now, while it's true that celebrities are under no obligation to stop for fans, they should at least recognize the people who made them famous in the first place. I mean, how hard can it be to say, "Hey guys, I can't stop for a fan meet right now, but thank you so much for your support. See you around." See, that wasn't even like 10 seconds. What do you think? The next reason why people don't like the cast of Stranger Things is some of them are not really good actors. This may be a reason why David Harbour hasn't gotten any big acting breaks before Stranger Things. A lot of the show's fans have pointed out that the humor in them don't strike the viewer as much as the other scenes in the show. He's definitely not the strongest actor, and people are saying he should step up his game because he's kind of wasting the effort of his young co-actor. Back in season 2, one minor character had a lasting impression on fans of the show. Some of them are not really good actors. This may be the reason why David Harbour hasn't been any big acting for Stranger Things. A lot of the show's fans pointed out that scenes with Chief Hopper in them, the strongest actor, and people said he should step up his game because he's kind of wasting the effort of his young co-actors. Back in season 2, one minor character had a last. That's Kaylee Prasad, who played 8, Eleven's sister. A lot of people think the show could have done away with the character since the actress did such a
30
bad job
seconds
that
left.
she dragged Millie. It's highly subjective, though. I mean, there are people so
One
really
enemy
subjective.
remaining.
Even after watching that
Oh
confrontation
my
scene with Chief
God.
Hopper, some thought he wasn't good. So we'll let you decide for yourself if you think some of
10
the Stranger
seconds
Things
left.
cast are not that good at acting. One of the
Your
most
duty
popular
is
reasons
not
is that some of them are really obnoxious. This was made pretty clear after Gatton Monterosso hosted and produced an episode in pranking set two people up and made them think they were both starting their first
But
day
we are
at a
not
new
done.
job. Business as usual until strange things start happening to both of them, all for laughs. Understandably, a lot of folks are cruel, obnoxious to the fact that it's available to them. So, how is it even funny to waste their time like this? I'm not sure. Another instance that made a lot of people think Stranger Things cast members are obnoxious was one interview with Millie Bobby Brown, where she revealed that one of the things that she fears are bungalows. She said something about houses that don't have stairways. She may have said it as some sort of joke, but it's obnoxious nevertheless to people who can't afford a mid-rise home like she does. The next reason is some of these actors don't seem genuine. One might make the argument that all celebrities are perceived as fake and not totally true to themselves, but this case is very much evident with the young cast members of the Netflix show. There are people who think Sadie Sink is not as innocent as she's projecting herself to be. In many interviews, the cast would commend her for never taking part in arguments. Millie even said she's the one who usually tells everyone else to keep calm when tensions are running high. Some people say she's just too afraid to ruffle some feathers, which is why she's hiding behind the friendly personality. If this is true, then she should let her true self loose. She's young. Besides, we're not going to judge her for arguing with her captor. Everyone does this every once in a while. The next reason is that people have a hard time dissociating the actor from their character. Here's one of the most obvious reasons why there are a lot of haters who spend their precious time criticizing the cast of Stranger Things. They must have invested in the show so much that they're now getting confused and cannot dissociate the characters who are just playing a part. And this tends to happen with a lot of popular shows like this. Game of Thrones is a perfect example of this, when characters portrayed someone evil. All the fans in the show now believe that the actor is actually like that in real
I'll share
life.
this one macho thing. I might go off.
Such a strong reaction to make their acting ability is
We'll watch
actually
this
really
later.
good.
Trying to get it
They
more.
can't be that bad of actors, can they? And lastly, the most believable one, people are just jealous. It's kind of safe to say that the cast of Stranger Things became superstars overnight. Not one of them expected that the show would have had such a spectacular reception when they first started working on it. Now, not everyone is given the speed ticket to popularity, wealth, and success. It's easy to see that the majority of the haters are just people who wish they could be a part of the show so they could also be famous, buy big houses, cars, and rub elbows with some of the industry's biggest names. Jealousy begets hate, and it's unfortunate that we can't all be rich and glamorous. But that's just the way life is. There's no reason to attack these celebrities just because they represent everything we wish we were, but couldn't be.
Right here.
Being mean and putting your own insecurities onto someone else is not okay. So before you start to say or do the wrong thing to someone else, just think about them and how it might make them feel. The Stranger Things cast has their own issues that they are working through that maybe nobody knows about.
Oh,
Respect, be kind. It's the only thing that costs nothing but costs more than food.
Like,
Anyway, thanks for watching the video. A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We'll be giving away either an iPhone X Max, a new iPad Mini, or a...
oh, the 30 rounds in on round. I used to call it casual.
Riverdale was an unexpected hit for the CW when it came out, and its popularity has continued throughout its now 4 seasons, with a 5th on the way. The show takes a much darker tone with the
Shadows traveling.
Enemy spotted.
No, be annoying, annoying, annoying.
Last player standing.
My actual dumb ping. I wish it never was this bad.
Shut down.
Just stop the stream right now. But like, yeah, I'm good.
Have a nice day.
You get a pick.
Probably going for Phantom again. Oh, what? I can't take Phantom.
I need this.
Right here.
Right here.
Huh?
Watching here.
It's really better.
Caution here.
Take the Guardian.
Take out their healer.
The men involved one's responsible for what happened. Responsible for what happened to your brother.
Found them. Joke's over! You're dead! Our spike carrier's down.
Flawless.
I legit unplayed my log.
Last round in the half.
Oh,
Buy all
my
you
log.
Hey, Mom. Everything okay? Yeah, everything's fine. Yeah. Dirk, gotta talk to you, buddy. About my friend Will. I think...
Trust in my healing.
Enemy spotted.
Right here.
Shadows traveling.
You will not kill my ally.
David,
Yeah?
I can't get Discord Nitro since my mom doesn't trust it.
Oh, ripping.
For you.
One enemy remaining.
What?
Ripping, like.
What'd you say?
Oh, that's sad.
Yep. What did you say, David?
I said that was sad.
Yeah, your mic is like really low. Like,
Oh my god, I just aced.
what?
Last player standing.
Aced.
Switching sides.
Oh, frick. No, that's fine.
Hold on. Oh, never mind. Yeah, whatever you're saying, I can't hear you.
Oh. Oh. My headphones keep destroying and stuff. I don't know why. Oh.
It's like I feel what the shadow monsters feel like. See what he's seeing.
Right
Like in the upside down. Some of them is there. Some of them is here too. Here, like in this house, and
In his presence.
in
In his
me.
presence.
It's like
Spike planted.
chanting off gets more and more.
Oh.
And the more he spreads, the more connected to him I feel, and the more you see these now. At first, it just felt it in the back of my head.